Katharine Hepburn's life seemed like an open book, bold, daring, and unshakable. But what if behind the scenes there was a love story so hidden that it only surfaced decades later? Let's uncover the truth about her secret romantic life. When you think of Katharine Hepburn, you likely picture her as the fierce, trailblazing actress who dominated Hollywood for over 6 decades. With her unmatched independence, iconic voice, and a record-breaking 4 Academy Awards, she completely redefined the role of a leading lady. But beyond the dazzling career and ironclad resilience, there was a chapter of her personal life that remained hidden for years, a love story shrouded in whispers and mystery. Though she was famously tied to Spencer Tracy, her co-star and companion for 30 years, their relationship was anything but conventional. Tracy, a devout Catholic, refused to divorce his wife, leaving Hepburn as his quiet, devoted confidant. While this romance is legendary, it wasn't the only one to shape her life. Recent discoveries have shed light on a side of Hepburn's heart that few knew existed. Letters, accounts, and archival findings reveal a woman whose romantic life was far more complex, discreet, and at times heart-wrenching than the world ever imagined. What secrets did this Hollywood icon carry with her? And how did they shape the woman we thought we knew? The beginnings of a hidden romance. Katharine Hepburn was always ahead of her time, a woman who challenged societal expectations on and off the screen. While the golden age of Hollywood often thrived on glamorous romances and tabloid scandals, Hepburn managed to carve out a private life that was as enigmatic as it was intriguing. One such chapter of her life, shrouded in secrecy, involves Leland Hayward, a theatrical agent and entrepreneur who was as charming as he was influential. In the 1930s and 1940s, whispers of a romance between Hepburn and Hayward began to circulate. To the outside world, their connection seemed professional, but those who knew Hepburn intimately believed there was more beneath the surface. Hayward, known for his sharp wit and magnetic personality, was already married at the time of their rumored affair. This fact only heightened the need for discretion, as both he and Hepburn were acutely aware of how the relentless Hollywood gossip mill could dismantle their reputations. Hepburn's correspondence with Hayward reportedly revealed glimpses of a deep and intimate connection. Though never confirmed publicly, these letters hinted at a bond built on mutual respect, admiration, and perhaps a love that couldn't fully flourish in the public eye. For Hepburn, who was notoriously private about her personal life, keeping this relationship in the shadows aligned with her refusal to conform to Hollywood's expectations. What made this romance particularly fascinating was how it intertwined with Hepburn's character. She was a woman who fiercely prioritized her career, often sacrificing personal relationships for her professional ambitions. This dynamic with Hayward highlighted her complex approach to love, an approach that valued independence, yet still craved meaningful connection. The rumored relationship with Hayward eventually faded into obscurity, largely eclipsed by Hepburn's public and well-documented romance with Spencer Tracy in later years. However, this hidden chapter reveals an untold vulnerability and a glimpse into the private struggles of a woman who, to the world, seemed unshakable. Was Hayward just a fleeting romance, or was he a pivotal figure in shaping Hepburn's views on love and loyalty? And how did this relationship prepare her for the more public, yet equally complicated love story she would later share with Spencer Tracy? Up next, we'll dive into a romance that tested Hepburn's resolve and left an indelible mark on her legacy. Women who shaped her personal life. Katharine Hepburn wasn't just a trailblazer in Hollywood. She was a woman who lived by her own rules even when it came to her relationships. While her romantic connections with men like Spencer Tracy and Leland Hayward are well documented, her relationships with women tell a deeper and more nuanced story about her private life. One of the most prominent women in Hepburn's life was Laura Harding, a wealthy socialite and close confidant. Harding wasn't just a casual friend. She was a constant presence during some of Hepburn's most pivotal and challenging years. The two lived together for several years, a fact that fueled speculation about the true nature of their bond. While Hepburn never publicly defined their relationship, those who knew her recognized the profound closeness between them. Letters and anecdotes from their time together paint a picture of an intimate, deeply supportive connection that seemed to transcend the boundaries of typical friendship. Their relationship also highlighted Hepburn's defiance of societal norms. In the mid-20th century, discussions about sexuality were taboo, especially for someone with her level of fame. Hepburn's fiercely guarded privacy only added to the mystery, leaving the public and Hollywood insiders alike to wonder about the depth and nature of her relationships with women. Adding to the intrigue, Hollywood insider Scotty Bowers claimed in his controversial memoir that Hepburn sought relationships with women during her early years in the industry. While these claims remain unverified and have been met with skepticism, they nevertheless add another layer of complexity to Hepburn's narrative. Whether these accounts are accurate or not, they reflect the public's fascination with a woman who challenged conventions at every turn. Hepburn's relationships with women, whether romantic or platonic, reveal a side of her life that was as unconventional as her career. They show a woman who valued deep, meaningful connections above all else, even if it meant defying the expectations of her era. Did Hepburn's relationships with women reflect a part of her life that she kept intentionally hidden, or were they simply misunderstood by a world desperate for answers? And how did these bonds influence the choices she made in both her personal and professional life? Coming up next, we'll explore a romance that pushed the boundaries of secrecy and loyalty, forever shaping Hepburn's legacy. The Mystery of Spencer Tracy. No discussion of Katharine Hepburn's love life would be complete without exploring her enduring and complex relationship with Spencer Tracy. Their partnership, though legendary in Hollywood circles, was anything but simple. It was a story of love, loyalty, and sacrifice, set against the backdrop of an era where personal lives were often hidden away from the public eye. Spencer Tracy was a man whose immense talent and strong convictions made him one of the most respected actors of his time. He was also deeply religious, a devout Catholic who refused to divorce his wife, Louise Treadwell, even though the couple had been living apart for years. This decision created a complex situation for Hepburn, who, despite the lack of public recognition, was undeniably in love with Tracy. For Hepburn, love wasn't about recognition or titles. It was about devotion. She understood the limitations of their relationship, being together in private while maintaining separate lives in public. But that didn't make her love for him any less real. Hepburn's commitment to Tracy was so deep that she made an extraordinary sacrifice in the 1960s. She took a 5-year break from her thriving acting career to care for Tracy as his health began to deteriorate. At the height of her success, Hepburn put her career on hold to be by his side, something she never shied away from discussing privately, but kept quiet about publicly. This period marked a profound moment in Hepburn's life. Tracy's health worsened quickly, and in 1967, just days after finishing their final film together, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, he passed away. The world lost one of its greatest actors, but Hepburn lost the love of her life. Yet, despite the intensity of their connection, Hepburn kept her grief to herself. She refused to speak about the relationship publicly until after Louise Treadwell died in 1983. This choice, to remain silent out of respect for his wife, only adds to the mystery of their relationship and highlights Hepburn's loyalty, discretion, and unwavering devotion to Tracy. However, while their love was undeniable, it wasn't the only love story Hepburn had. Behind the scenes, there are whispers of fleeting romances and untold stories that suggest Hepburn's capacity for love was far broader than just her relationship with Tracy. Letters and interviews from those close to her indicate that, while her heart was undoubtedly with Tracy for much of her life, there were moments when she opened her heart to others, even if those connections were not as public or well known. Hepburn was a woman who embraced the complexity of love, accepting it in many forms: quiet, unspoken, fleeting, and profound. Her relationship with Tracy may have been the most significant, but it wasn't the only one that shaped her personal life. Was Hepburn's deep love for Tracy the defining romance of her life? Or was it simply the most public expression of her more complex emotional world? What other love stories remained hidden in the shadows of Hollywood's golden age? In the next chapter, we'll uncover more of Hepburn's private relationships and how they shaped her as both a woman and an iconic figure in Hollywood. A modern perspective on her relationships. Today, Katharine Hepburn's personal life is viewed through a much different lens than it was during Hollywood's golden age. Back then, society's rigid expectations around love and relationships made stepping outside the norm a dangerous gamble for one's reputation. Yet Hepburn, true to her independent spirit, managed to navigate these societal pressures with an air of dignity that few could rival. Hepburn's decision to fiercely guard her privacy wasn't just an act of self-protection. It was a way of maintaining control over her own story in an era when the press often dictated public perception. By keeping the details of her love life close to the vest, she avoided the sensationalism that plagued many of her peers. However, this choice also created an air of mystery, leaving fans and historians with countless unanswered questions about her relationships. In recent years, biographers and researchers have worked tirelessly to untangle the threads of Hepburn's romantic life. Her rumored romances with powerful men, such as Leland Hayward, and her deeply connected friendships with women like Laura Harding, offer a glimpse into her multifaceted personality. These relationships challenge the conventional image of Hepburn as merely a fiercely independent actress, revealing a woman capable of deep affection and enduring loyalty. What makes Hepburn's story even more intriguing is how it reflects the pressures of her time. As a woman in a male-dominated industry, she was expected to fit into narrow molds of femininity and romance. Yet she defied these norms, carving out a personal life as unconventional and groundbreaking as her career. Whether through her legendary love affair with Spencer Tracy or the relationship she kept more private, Hepburn's life shows how societal expectations often influenced and sometimes constrained her choices. How might Katharine Hepburn's relationships have been different if she had lived in today's more open and accepting society? And what can we learn from the way she balanced personal desires with the demands of her era? Katharine Hepburn's love life was as captivating and layered as the characters she brought to life on screen. Her hidden love story serves as a poignant reminder that relationships are rarely black and white. They're shaped by compromise, passion, loyalty, and often secrecy. Hepburn, a woman who fiercely championed independence, paradoxically chose to immerse herself in relationships that demanded sacrifice and discretion. Her enduring devotion to Spencer Tracy, her deep bonds with women like Laura Harding, and the whispers of other romantic connections all paint a picture of a woman unbound by societal norms. Hepburn didn't fit into Hollywood's neatly packaged image of romance. She chose authenticity over appearances, even if it meant living in the shadows or defying conventional expectations. What makes Hepburn's legacy so remarkable isn't just the depth of her relationships, but her unapologetic commitment to living life on her terms. She didn't seek validation from the public eye, nor did she conform to the pressures of her time. Instead, she built a life that balanced independence and connection in a way that was uniquely her own. Perhaps that's why her story resonates so deeply today. Hepburn's approach to love reminds us that relationships don't need to fit a formula to be meaningful. Her life challenges us to question what it means to love and be loved, and to consider how much of ourselves we're willing to compromise for the people we hold dear. How does Hepburn's story reshape the way we think about love in Hollywood's golden age? And what can her life teach us about living authentically, even when the world demands otherwise? One thing's for certain: Katharine Hepburn's love story will continue to inspire, mystify, and challenge us for generations to come. As we've uncovered the hidden love stories of Katharine Hepburn, it's clear that her heart was just as complex as her legendary career. From her devoted relationship with Spencer Tracy to the whispered romances with women and men alike, Hepburn's personal life was a web of love, loyalty, and mystery. But what really drove her to keep these stories hidden for so long? Was it her need for privacy, or perhaps a desire to protect the memory of those she loved? If you're as fascinated by Hepburn's untold story as we are, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss the next chapter in Hollywood's most intriguing love stories. Stories that have been kept under wraps for decades. Stay tuned and let's dive deeper into the drama, the secrets, and the legacies of old Hollywood.